That is a pretty massive upgrade. It's a pretty major glow up. Okay, we're going to do an unboxing of a radio system. First time I've actually seen this product in person, so thank you very much to ATA Hobby for reaching out to me to review this product. It is the newest RadioLink, the RC8X. Pretty excited. I haven't actually looked at it. It comes in a soft case, which is nice. At this price point, this radio comes in, I'll put in the link in the description pricing because it does fluctuate a bit, as well as at the time that I'm recording this, it's very close to Prime Day, so this will be going on sale. They told me from ATA Hobby the RadioLink RC8X will be going on sale for 20% off on Prime Day. So nice case, actually. So this is the has the product tag on it. Get it open here and see what it looks like. This will be my first time actually seeing this radio, and it is a significant upgrade over the RC6, which I do have an RC6. I have an RC6 V2. There's an RC6 V3, which added more models, but looks exactly the same. I'll show that to you later when we compare the radios side by side. But this one has a big screen on it, and it's an 8-channel digital proportional. Okay, so as I open it up here, strap on this side with a carrying strap for the case. On this side, we get probably the book and the receiver. Got some foam. Here's the radio. Oh, here's the receiver here. And it is a long range, so you get 2 antennas. That is one of the benefits of the RadioLink system, is a lot of people like to run it using them because they have a long range. Forget what the exact quoted range is, it'll be in the documentation, which is a 600-meter range when you're running the maximum. Well, you get 2 receivers. So this package, which you can get from Amazon, I'll put links in the description, and it ships out of an Amazon warehouse in US and Canada. So I'm in Canada, and this came to me directly from Amazon.ca warehouse, and it's a package that came with 2 receivers. So you get the big one, the RC8FG, double antenna for extra long range, and you get the micro, which is the RC4GM, super tiny receiver. It's a 4-channel single antenna with a gyro. Both of these have gyros, which is a benefit of the RadioLink system. Most of the receivers have gyro. I have multiple versions of this, and they work great. Just wanted to show you all the receivers that this radio is compatible with. That one, their top of the line receiver, I believe, and then it steps down from there. RC7FG, where actually I have one of those. I'm getting quite the collection of RadioLink receivers now. An R7FG, the little small ones that I like. These are the R4FGM, the version 2, and the version that I currently have is a version 1. And yeah, so if you have receivers from the RC6 generation of radios, they are compatible with what radios this receiver works with. So it is backwards that way too. So you can go new receiver, old radio, new radio, old receiver. So that's great. You get the book, you get the 2 receivers. What do we got in here? Probably some charge cables and battery leads. Oh, you get a lanyard strap, 2 Allen wrenches, and a throttle trigger for a bigger trigger. USB-C to USB-A charge cable. If you want to have exact battery telemetry readings back to your radio, that's what this is for. You will get basic telemetry without running this. Receiver disconnected and reconnected. You get this lanyard for the radio, and the radio has a little lanyard hook on it right here on the base. You get 8 battery tray. I wonder if you need that. Oh, okay. It comes with a RadioLink 1700 milliamp hour LiPo. It's nice. So you get an option. So you can run the lithium battery that it comes with, or if you want to run the, and they look small, maybe they're 8 triple A's. I'll check in the book. So you can run a 2S or 4S LiPo battery, or 6S nickel metal hydride, or you need 8 AAA batteries. On the base there is the 2-prong JST connector, so that's what you will need to power it with this. This is a potential concern. You can, this is not keyed, right? So you could plug that in reverse polarity. So pay attention to that. When you're plugging it in, you want to make sure that you're putting positive to positive, negative to negative. Don't reverse polarity it. I do not know if it has reverse polarity protection, so be careful with that. So yeah, we're just going to put that in and we can power this on. I'm getting this radio to test about maybe 6 to 8 months after its initial launch. Not sure what firmware comes on it. There have been firmware updates on this radio since it's come out. There's also one additional thing that came with the radio, that it does come with a screen protector that was kind of just static clung into the box here that it came with. So you get a lot of accessories. So just pay attention to if it says it comes with 1 or 2 receivers. The book says it comes with 1 receiver, which is this one. There will be bundles, and how you purchase it, it may come with 2 receivers like this one did. When you look over all of the controls that this radio has a micro SD card slot in the very top front. So it comes with a 32 gigabyte SD card for storing model memory. So that's good for when you do firmware updates and stuff. You may not have to back them up because they should store on the SD card. That's nice. A big button at the back. This is an 8-channel, so there's going to be a lot of buttons for channels. You've got toggles all around the wheel. The wheel is fixed, non-angular, so just so you can see here, this is the profile of it. And I will pull in the camera closer so you can get a better look at it. But the big benefit of this one is you get a big, beautiful colored touchscreen. So that is unique to the RC8. RC6 was a monochromatic screen where you would have just 4 buttons to populate through. On the rear, we're going to peel that off, and we're going to see some ports back here. So under the little rubber flap in the middle, USB-C charge port, analog audio plugs beside that. There is a variable rate knob here right behind the wheel, so that would be for dialing in anything where you want to have analog control over the adjustments, would be this variable rate knob. There are more controls than I had initially explained. So there is a switch here, multiple indentations. This one is more granular, totally freeform, variable rate. You have your standard wheel, you have your digital trims, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have a PS button here, you have a button here, a button here, same on the back. Button here, button on the back, right there. There's the power button here, and then you have the touchscreen system. In the very front here, under this rubber flap, a 32 gigabyte, I did eject it with my fingers, 32 gigabyte Kingston SD card with it. It is a singular sized grip. There is no additional grip in the box, but the grip itself seems fairly comfortable for my hand. I don't really have any complaints on that. The trigger feel is nice. It's not as premium as a high-end race radio, but it's pretty good. This is the smaller top of the trigger, and that is removable, and that's what they give you this part for, which is the trigger bigger size. So if you have a really big index finger that will barely fit in between here, then you get a even wider one, but this is already pretty wide and it is non-adjustable. Adjustment is just the pieces. So even though it does screw on, the way that it keys in place, it does not ratchet. Just so you know, it's always going to be that spacing. There is some little adjustments in there for tension. That would be for how much spring tension you like to have on your trigger. So that is adjustable, which is nice. That is a fairly premium feature. I think we're about ready to power it on for the first time. Let's go.
Welcome to RadioLink.
Okay, welcome to RadioLink. Here is the home screen. The battery came charged to 7.9 volts. Here's the servo views. So as I pull the trigger, you get telemetry of exactly what's going on. There's full brake, there's full acceleration. Variable rate knob. As I adjust the variable rate knob, that shows that moving. A constant telemetry readout on the bottom. You get your timer. There's a lot of information on this home screen. A lot, which is great. I do like that. From this home screen display, you can just press this button down here to get into the settings. I suppose you can start and stop a timer. Probably hold to reset. Yeah. And then here is your main menu. And this menu, it goes on. So as you can scroll through, as you're scrolling through, you're going to see that it's moving through these panels on the side, so you can do quick jumps to different settings. But here is the basic introduction to the interface, what all of the icons do, all of the functions are. There's all of the channel plugs for the RC8F G, and it does mention that it is splash proof and gyro integrated. Out of the box it will be pre-bound to this big receiver, but binding a RadioLink is very simple. The transmitter and receiver close to each other, program it to the model that you want. That's the bind button. There is a bind button on these receivers, so you do have to press it. It will bind. But we're just going to start up at the top here, and we're going to go into information. So this is version 1.01 hardware with software of 1.12, and I just went to the website to try and find out, is that the latest firmware? But it's not. So the very newest one is I believe 1.15. So as I was looking through the information for the firmware, it took me to this page. It talks about some of the features of the radio. It runs an ARM9 processor, kind of a big and little ARM9, ARM7, 720 megahertz, 32 megabytes of RAM. The screen and the ports on the back, those are for FPV head tracking. Port for FPV display holsters. If you want to run a audio and FPV, you can do that. So that's some of the features. You can plug it into a computer for running your VRC, so it does have a simulator function, has headphone functions, FPV headset functions, and TBS crossfire functions. And actually in the website it talks about the response time. So they have recently updated this to include the ability to run up to 3 millisecond response time. But in order to do that, you need to have version 1.15 firmware above, and you need to be on FHSS v2 protocol, and make sure that your R8FG is 2.1. So my setup will not be capable of 3 millisecond time because this is a 2.0 receiver. So it looks like there's been some slight tweaks since then. A little bit disappointing. I'm not going to get the full 3 millisecond response time, but if you do upgrade your receivers and your firmware, that is now an option. So that gets it into the same type of frequency response time as a race radio. Out of the box, it's going to be a little bit slower, be more suited to things like crawling and bashing. If you want to race, you may want to get the latest radio available. So you can have themes and voices and custom switch configurations. This radio does a lot. So we'll not be going into all that in this video. This is just the initial unboxing, just getting used to it, seeing what it's like. And yeah, so far, I do think I need to have a little bit more time with it, but this is already, video is probably already going a little bit long as it is. But some of the main features that this has over something like the competitors, like a FlySky Noble. FlySky Noble does not have gyro. FlySky Noble does not hold as many models as this, does not have an SD card like this does. This one has a lot more customizations and abilities built in, and it will take me a while to learn them, and then I will come back in a later video and show you more about that. So there's things like steering curves, throttle curve, brake curves. I even saw something in here about, like, there's drag racing, traction control, drag racing, engine run out, mixing, four-wheel steering mixings. Look at all this stuff. You can have tank controls. So if you have a very wildly, varied model collection, this is probably a really good option for you, because there's things in here that some of the other brands just don't have. So things like rollout charts and gear ratios, tank mixing. There is a lot of stuff in here that you can do that is not in a more basic radio system. I think it'll just take me some time to test it and get used to it. We'll do some follow-up videos about it in the future. Quality-wise, it's all plastic, so it feels okay in hand. It's a little light. There's a couple things I do want to improve, like the battery bouncing around in there. I do want to add some foam into that battery tray area. I do think you do want to put that screen protector on, although it currently does have one. I have not peeled the screen, so it currently has a screen protector on it, just a cheaper one. You do get the better, thicker screen protector in with it, as well as all the information that I showed you. So yeah, you can even do dual speed control mixing, all kinds of stuff. So that's the initial unboxing and overview of the RadioLink RC8X. I do like it. Oh, it has an LED status too. I didn't even notice that those light up. Powering it up and powering it down is hold for 1.5 seconds. Doesn't talk to you when it turns off, but it talks to you when it turns on.
Welcome to RadioLink.
I said that I was going to compare these radios, what they look like. So it's a pretty major glow up. So this is the old RC6 style. RC6 GS V2 and V3 looked like this. Take 6 AA's, have a blue backlight, analog style. I mean, it's a digital screen, but it's not touch. You run through the buttons, and it has quite a few functions, but it's a little clunky to use. But you have a big antenna. yeah, I mean, it's a decent radio, pretty good for the last couple of years, but now they've got the 8. That is a pretty massive upgrade. So yeah, and receivers compatible too. So if you're on this platform and you have a bunch of the receivers from this, you can just buy this radio and move them all over. So that's pretty awesome. We'll be testing it a little bit further and making future videos with it. If there's something specific you want to know about this RC8X, let me know and I'll try and integrate it into the next videos. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button if you're new and here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. As always, thanks for watching.